I'm going to do a quick short video about how to replace one of those and how to replace one of these. This is the ABS sensor, and it's off the back of the BMW X3. It plugs in under the back of the car. It moves against this reluctor ring and detects how fast the wheel's going. We had a lot of lights come on the dashboard recently, so 4x4, ABS, flat tyre, brake, they all came on yellow, and that's an indicator that it's likely to have failed. So I've loosened a few things off, but before we start, there's a few tools that are needed for this. One of them is the E12, the sort of female Torx. That's for the prop shaft bolts. There's also this weird nut in the middle, which you can see I've loosened them. There's some oil in there to try and free things off as well. So this is a this one's a Draper, but it's a 36mm CRV. So 36mm CRV, and it's got that sort of 12 splined, well, count them yourself, I think it's 12 splines, and it goes onto this there and releases it. Now this nut has two anti-return tabs that are smashed out on it, so I've had to push those out to allow it to undo. That means that the nut can't be used twice. I might have to refit them. I've got this one on order to replace it, so I may have to refit this one just to move the car off the drive, but we won't be driving around without replacing this nut with a new one. It's very important because we don't want it to come loose. So I've loosened that, I've squirted some penetrating oil in. The splined shafts on these are an absolute bugger. I did a really long video of replacing the one on the passenger side of this car, and it was hours and hours of work. So watch that if you want to watch me sweat and cry. Under here you have the end of the prop shaft there. That's where those nuts are. Now I've already loosened those using the female Torx bit, the E12 as I call it, and I can now obviously get under here with an E12 spanner and undo them if I want. So that could go on there, and that then turns to loosen that, and we take these off completely. So I'm gonna do that and then start you up again. Oh, and if you're wondering, just while I'm undoing those underneath, this is where the sensor goes in on the hub. This is a rear hub. Well, on the back of the hub there, we've got this sensor here. There was a hex bolt in here, I've taken it out. This actually, you might need to get something under it to wiggle, get it out, but then it comes out. And you can actually see the reluctor ring inside there. There's the sensor. This sensor is worn at the end. It's got some stuff on it because it is magnetic, but you can see it's worn away. The cable for it runs around here, and it goes into a box that's in underneath here, and that's the end of the cable. I've actually disconnected it. Where's the box? There's the box. So yeah, you kind of have to take off the cover, which I've curved back a cover that's under here. Just take a couple of bolts off, curve that back, and you can get access to the plug. The plug disconnects. That's it, disconnected. And this can then just unclip by taking it out. The other one is the brake wear sensor. So there we go, so that comes off there, and then this can all come out here, and that's then gone. And obviously the new one will go in the same place, but not before we've taken out the prop shaft and put the new reluctor ring on. Right, back to those bolts. Just to know on safety, to get to the bottom, get the bottom bolts to the top and the top bolts to the bottom, you've got to take the handbrake off and rotate the disc. So I can kind of do from here, there we go. Yeah, but taking the handbrake off on a car that you're underneath is great if it's chocked, and if it rolls away then you die. So make sure you support and chock the car properly before you take the handbrake off. It needs to be out of gear as well, of course. Okay, so these are all loosened. I've got the bolts out. They come out with these funny plates as well. There's 3 of these, and then there's 6 bolts. They're all quite long. Yeah, anyway, so that now loosens this, and you can see that will come away from here, like so, and it kind of shows that there's some movement in it, but we're going to need to get this out, which means I'm going to have to pull it right out the back of this hub past the differential. I can't get it to go up above, there's not enough room, so it's got to come down below, which means that unfortunately this torsion bar here, which I remember I had to take out when I did the other side along with the exhaust on the other side, but this torsion bar needs to be dropped down so that it can drop back. So I'm going to loosen off the this cover here and get to the bracket behind it, and then loosen off the ball joint at this end of it, which is a bit of a pain, but I'll get the tools to do that. So we need to be undoing the bolts for this torsion bar. The first one is there, and the second one is there, and seen from within the spare wheel compartment. So they're a bit of a fiddle to get to, but yeah, take your time, take the spare wheel out and undo those. Okay, the torsion bar, the end of the torsion bar, that's this here, that needs to be undone too. So there's a bolt, sorry, a nut in there, and you may need to hold the ball joint here still, so that it doesn't turn when you undo the nut. So a very thin spanner to get in there is needed. In the I think in the previous video I actually machined one to fit exactly, so have a look at that, and I'll probably describe the size of it in there. Okay, so here we go. We have a socket onto the ball joint, and I shall push up on here, and undoubtedly it will just turn if it turns at all, because as you know, one does not just simply walk into Mordor. There we go, I just moved it a notch. Let's see if I can feel it turning. It is turning, so I need to find that flat spanner that I made up last time. Yeah, it's definitely turning. So I can feel the flats moving. So I'm going to get my flat spanner and undo it using that. Okay, so I have here a thin, this is actually a router spanner, which I'm going to put in here. It's not the same one I found before, but it fits in behind that ball joint. So I can now undo the other side of the ball joint with this held using this spanner. Okay, so we're just getting to the end of the thread on this one. I've actually put a jack under the hub to take the load off the torsion bar, because if it's loaded and you undo it, then it's going to be a problem. So there's the nut that's come off. That one took a bit of fiddle faddling, and you can see there that then comes, maybe you can't see it, let's get you up here. So this then comes away from here, and this torsion bar is then free, but I've still got the bolts in the top bit, so I'll just finish off undoing those. Just to note that this U-bracket bolt, if it's rusted, it's a real pain in the backside, because you can only get a little spanner on there unless you take out this whole tray, which I'm not sure how you do it, but you can get on it with a little spanner, but the leverage is very small, so it's pretty tough. Right, once the anti-roll bar is disconnected and moves around, it is possible to push it backwards enough into the spare wheel tray that this will then come down past it. Two will cross over like so, and this will then hang down. I'm not sure if we should let it hang down completely under its own weight. So, well, see if I can find something to prop it with for now. Okay, so I've taken off the nut. You can see on the nut it has these two parts that are damaged where it was bashed in to stop it undoing, and that I've unbashed and then undone and taken off. I've squirted several times. I put some WD-40 into here to try and impregnate any rust that's on the splined shaft that goes through here. If you're thinking actually this has been a bit tough up until now, maybe you've missed a meal trying to undo all those stupid bolts under there, well, actually relax, it's going to get far worse. If you look at the other video, getting the splined axle shaft out of the hub was an absolute nightmare. Hoping this one's going to be easier, but we'll give it a go. Okay, so it's the same tools I used on the last one for the obviously the socket that I took it off with. I put the nut back on just kind of to the first thread, and then we have to hit it like so. And then we see if it's moved. I think this one might actually just be moving, which is bizarre. So I suspect, like last time, this is going to take some time. Okay, so we've moved from the car to the workshop. Eventually, after beating the living daylights out of it, heating it to within an inch of the temperature of the sun, and spraying lots of WD-40 into the splines, eventually it started to move, and here it is in the vise. So that's the end with the reluctor ring on it. If I stick you on here, so you can monitor, you can see on here that there's rust on this, and this is bulged. I can actually see that this is bulged and there's rust underneath it here. Not sure if we can see it. Sometimes when you look at these you can see that it's shiny where it's been hitting the sensor. In fact, I can see that there's dents around it where I think it has hit the sensor. Yeah, so it is damaged. It needs to come off. We need to clean it up, and we need to put the new one on it. So the new one is here ready to go, and it obviously is the same size as that, albeit slightly smaller, and because of the rust. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is just stick some gloves on, use an angle grinder to cut this off. Beware of angle grinders, they're blooming dangerous. Watch out for gravity too, because gravity can catch you unawares. So I'll cut this off and then we'll clean it up. Don't really want to damage the hub, so I'm trying to do this without causing any damage. Looking for my screwdriver, can't find it. Let's use a different one. Screwdriver.
just weakened it here where I put the grinder on it. It's caused a bit of a dip in it there. Okay, there we go. Right. Okay, so we got that off without damaging the hub. Awesome. There it is. An old reluctor ring. Happy days. The next thing is to clean up this area, obviously all rusty. This is where the angle grinder can come in again. Just change the... I've got a brush on the angle grinder. This is where it gets even more dangerous. You do this at your own risk, as I do, and wear goggles and appropriate protection. Okay, so that's now done. The reluctor ring. Oh, hello. Here we are. The reluctor ring won't fit. We need to heat that so that it expands and drop it in. We do that using hot oil, which we'll come to next. When I did this last time, someone said to me, "Oh, you need to prevent this from going rusty again, because you'd have to do the job again, which would be a disaster." And they suggested that you paint this with a sort of rust-resistant paint before fitting the ring so that it doesn't go rusty. Well, I've been a risk manager for a long time, and so I think I'm fairly comfortable saying that this has lasted 123,000 miles. The other side it did last less, yes, absolutely. It was 110,000 miles, maybe 100,000 miles. But suffice to say, we owning this car are going to do about 10,000 miles a year. If I have this car in 12 years' time, if this car is still alive, I'll be stunned. Frankly, I might not still be alive. But hey, if it makes you feel better for that person that said, "Hey, spray it with something. I could do this for you." There you go, look. Oh, sorry. Run out of paint. Never mind. We'll just have to wait and see. Okay, I have here a camping gas stove, which I'm hoping to light. Ooh, that's exciting. Okay, and onto it I'm putting this rather exciting looking skillet, hoping that the heat isn't going to get too close to my drive shaft, which is still behind here in the vise. Now the idea with this is that we heat this oil in here, and it is oil. This is crappy organic rapeseed oil. Not so crappy. Anyway, it's organic rapeseed oil from Tesco's. Other supermarkets are available. It's the cheapest oil we've got in the house. I could have used engine oil or something, but I don't want. I'm going to be careful. I don't want anything coming off this causing smells or damaging the pan. This pan we do use indoors. I'm going to put this reluctor ring into here, and the oil will transfer the heat into the reluctor ring, heating it to the same temperature as the pan. And when it's really hot, we can then take it out using tongs or something, and we can slide it over the prop shaft, over the hub, to replace the old one. Someone said to me in a previous video, why is it that you put it in oil? Why not use water? Because water is safer than oil, right? Well, actually, hot water is pretty dangerous stuff, and it boils, and then it causes steam, which is also very dangerous stuff, and that all happens at 100 degrees C. I want this to go beyond 100 degrees C to as hot as I can, really as hot as I can get it safely, to make this ring as big as possible. So I'm going to go beyond 100 degrees C with my hot oil. Let's leave it cooking. So we can do a rough test by putting some water in there. And you can see the water is very quickly boiling, so that's definitely over 100 degrees. Right, so my plan with this is to take it off the stove, take the stove away, move it all away to a safe place, and then bring back the ring from the hot oil. So I've got a place on the floor near me. It's a concrete floor, very safe. I'm going to just turn off the gas, take this away, take that away, put it on the floor, get my grips, pick this up, pop it onto here. Now I get a couple of tools that I can use to tap this down. I've just got to check that that's down all the way around. It's all in the same place. It's looking good. And I think that is that. I'm not going to spray it or grease it or anything. I'm going to put it back on the car. Just before I do that though, we do need to make sure that these splines are clean so that they slide into the hub. You remember that getting it out of the hub was, well, let's just say that if we needed to punish someone, that would be the task that we would set them to do. So I am just running this wire brush around this. I've turned it around lots of times, and wire wool as well might help, but maybe we'll put some wool down the inside of the hub, just try and clean out anything that might obstruct it. And I think a bit of grease on this to go down the hub when it fits will help it to slide in and help it to come back out again next time if we do need to take it out for any other job. Alright, I've got some multi-purpose grease. I'm going to take some from the pot here, and I'm going to put it onto the splines so that I know that they are greased when we go in. Everything's as clean as it can be. But I've got some paper towel. I'm just going to push through the centre of the hub just to take out as much of the remaining debris as I can. I don't want any of this causing problems. It's cleaner. And put a bit of grease on the hub too. Bit of grease inside the hub. Just get it on the screwdriver. I'm going to try and get this towards the back. Helping along its way as it goes through. There we go. And the other side. Might need a bit of convincing to get it through. Prop it up. Supported the end with a bit of a tap. And that's coming through nicely. Okay, so first off, we know that this drive shaft is the wrong side of this anti-roll bar up here. So I'm going to push the anti-roll bar back, pull in the drive shaft, bring the two past each other, and then bring the anti-roll bar back to where it should be.
Now the prop shaft will go in, but the handbrake is on, so I do need to release that to be able to turn this. But we can start putting the other pieces back. So up here we have the end of the connector between the two, the anti-roll bar and the torsion bar as it's known, and the connector. I need to take the weight off the hub so that the torsion bar can be refitted back up into its bracket up here, wherever it is, this bracket, so that won't be able to go back into place until I've got the load taken on the hub. So I'm going to put that jack under the hub and get those things bolted back into position. Right, so the joint is there. That's now done up. Getting darker, but you can see it. See it just right there. And the light level up. And now I'm going to move on to this fixing up here. Final few turns on this torsion bar bracket. Just as tricky as it was to get in last time, but a bit easier to tighten up. So I've just dropped the jack out from under the hub so I can get these pieces back in to the connector coupler on the rear diff. So, sorry you can't see on it, it's getting dark now. So we'll get these back in, hopefully. Bit of wriggling. Right, the spare wheel is back in, the anti-roll bar is, torsion bar is now attached again. We've got the new lead, which I'm going to put in. So down here we have hole into which it goes, which is back here. So it's really hard to see because it's getting really dark. Just about see it there. I'm going to pop this in here, push it in. It should just wriggle and go in there. And then I'm going to pop this cable around onto the different brackets and work its way around there. It's got mountings on it so it goes in. And then the brake sensor goes in behind it. These just clip closed. Brake if you're really unlucky. And yeah, we should just go over there. That then goes over the top into that box behind there. And then under here we have, that one's come through. The end is inside the box. Little end cap is going to come off there, and these should pop together. It can only go one way around. There it is. Slides home. It should be clipped in. Should, he said. There's the clips. Oh, so there's only one clip on the other side. That's why I can't see it. So yeah, that's now home. That then has to go in the box, which is tricky to see. It's tricky to see even if you're here. So I'll give it my best shot. Holes at each end. Clips up in there. Like so. The lid gets closed and the top goes on. I'll do that. And then swing this cover back around. Can't quite fix it on, put my axle stand out of the way. Just can then come back around. 2 screws. 1 and 2. Just going to pop the old fixing back into the end of this sensor. And I've got a hex bit, and there's the screw that goes on it. And that's basically it. I mean, we've done everything. I'm just going to bash these 2 fixings across just to stop that unturning until a new one comes. But yeah, there we go, all back together again. I hope that was helpful. In terms of torque settings, if there is anything you need, then put a comment in the chat and we'll find out for you, because they've already gone from my mind. I didn't mention them along the way. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. Subscribe and give it a like if you liked it. Thanks. Bye-bye.